November 20 is designated as the World Children's Day, marking the anniversary of International Convention for Children's Rights. My short lecture today will answer the following questions. When and how did the Convention on Child's Rights begin? Why are these rights important? What are the child's rights? What is the current state of Filipino children's rights during the pandemic? After uncovering the answers, may we be inspired to revisit and focus on upholding these rights. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child was created by the world leaders. Let us briefly go back in time when the rights of the child was conceived. The following are the significant dates related to the establishment of child's rights. In 1924, the League of Nations adopted the Geneva Declaration on the Rights of the Child. The document recognizes that the mankind owes to the child the best it has to give. In 1946, 20 years after, UNICEF was established with an emphasis on children throughout the world. In the interim, Agenda for Future Work was drafted. In 1989, the significant year for the Convention of the Rights of the Child, popularly known as CRC, world leaders came together and made a historic commitment to the world's children. A promise was made. Every child will be protected and their rights fulfilled. In the Philippines, the UN CRC was ratified in 1990. This means that the government promised to take good care of the children. Fast forward to 2011. To keep the promise made in 1989, an optional protocol on CRC is adopted wherein international legal framework was put in place. This time, the committee can field complaints of child's rights violations and undertake investigations. The series of events and changes supported and strengthened children's rights. Rightly so, we as a community of pediatricians should be driven to commemorate those significant events. Why are these rights important? Is it not enough to just provide the basic needs of the children for them to grow and wait for them to become adults? Apparently, no. Children are individuals. They are neither the possession of their parents or the state. They have equal status as members of the family. Summing up all the reasons flashed on the screen, the importance of child's rights boils down to the fact that the cost to society of failing its children is huge. Given that information, we should invest in children. Start investing early. The best strategy is guided by children's rights. Investing in children can help break the cycle of poverty of families, of communities, and of countries. These are the four main classifications of child's rights that protect anyone under 18 years old. The right to survive, the right to be protected, the right to development, and the right to be heard. The Philippine Constitution mandates teaching of human rights in the schools starting from the elementary level. There are 12 rights of a child that are being taught in Philippine schools. Each of the 12 rights belongs in one of the main classifications of children's rights. All rights are connected. They are all equally important, and they cannot be taken away from children. CRC sets out the rights that must be realized for children to develop their full potential. Almost 2 years into the pandemic, how are these rights affected? COVID-19 pandemic is having a devastating impact across the world. In the Philippines, the government's effort to contain the virus is vital to the health of the population. But movement restriction, closure of the schools, loss of income, and isolation also expose children to increased risk of violence. A featured report in Lancet in June 2021 showed the following key findings. There is an evidence of an increase in abuse as children are more likely to be confined at length with the abusers. Bantay Bata registered a 167% increase in reporting child abuse. The OJ Cybercrime Division reported 20% increase in online sexual abuse and exploitation. Clearly, child's rights have been confined to during the pandemic. Lifting from the executive summary report of the research carried out in December 2020 showed that despite concerns about remote learning, enrollment is high for academic year 2020-2021 at 93%. This figure gives a glimmer of hope that the right to education is far from being forsaken. Last year, DepEd held a summit promoting rights-based education. Another positive finding is on child labor, which appears to be rare during the pandemic. It was at 2% at the time of data gathering. Does it mean that the right to enjoy youth is protected? An inference cannot be drawn at this point. Evidently, a lot of work still needs to be done. While over the past 30 years, since the creation of UNICEF, children's lives have been transformed, but millions are still left behind. For many, childhood has been cut short. It is upon us, as one of the stakeholders, to uplift their lives and morale and protect the precious little members of our society. May we become advocates who will effectively promote and protect child's rights. After all, the famous quote of Dr. Jose Rizal, "The youth is the hope of our future," still holds. Let me end this brief with a short video. Thank you.
Have you ever wondered if children have rights? Every person on the planet has rights, and so does every child. Child rights mean that we have the right to everything that helps us be healthy and happy. Nutrition and good health, good schooling, freedom of expression, and protection from anything that may be harmful. Every child has the right to good health care and nutrition. It does not matter if one is a boy or a girl. Every child has the right to education. It does not matter who we are or where we come from. Each one of us should be able to complete school. Each one of us has the right to protection, which means that we need to be safe from all sorts of violence, whether at school or the street or even at home. Just because we are children does not mean that our opinions can be silenced. Only we know what it is to be children. It is everyone's responsibility to ensure that every child has the right to survival, development, protection, and participation. We deserve to be healthy, happy, and full of hope. And we can't do it alone. You made a promise to ensure every right for every child 30 years ago. What are you doing to keep the promise today?